So the big question is this: how do most agents who struggle to get the information that most successful agents hoard to themselves grow and prosper without this information? That's the big question, and this video cast is the answer. Welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Pat Hyben. And now, for the review of the day.
All right, I got a great review here on my book, 6 Steps to 7 Figures, a real estate agent's guide to building wealth and creating your destiny. This is on the audio version. It's interesting on the audio version of a review because they have you rank 3 things: the book overall, the performance of me overall, and the story overall. And this person gave me 5 stars on all 3. Thank you. I appreciate that. I loved the printed book so much I bought the audio. I love the printed book so much that I have the audio, and I'm glad I got it. Love the fact that Pat narrated the book, as I'm a big fan of authors reading their material. Lots of great nuggets and wisdom on this, and I will be listening multiple times. Thanks, Pat. I get that comment a lot because, unfortunately, I read it really fast several years ago, and it was terrible, and I got bashed. And so I redid it at the beginning of this year, and I've been getting so much better reviews now.
Keep the comments coming, guys. I love them. And remember, I eat feedback for breakfast, so give me a 1-star review if you want, or a 5-star review if you want. I don't care. And the more reviews we get, the better guests we get. So please, subscribe first, and then leave us a review or wherever you're listening. All right, Rockstar Nation, we got a great guest today, Mr. James Like, coming out of Texas today. And he is doing some great stuff out there, and he was highly recommended as someone that needs to be on this show. So I'm lucky to have him today. So without further ado, James, welcome to Real Estate Rockstars.
What's up going on, man? How you doing, Pat?
Good, buddy. Why don't you kind of introduce yourself to everybody, James, so they can get to know you better?
All right. James Like. I am currently officing out of Burleson, Texas. That'd be a little south of Fort Worth. I'm a broker here, but I actually merged my team with Keller Williams in July of last year. And so Revolution Real Estate became a team with Keller Williams. I also do property management. We flip some houses, we do some coaching, some consulting, and you name it, we probably have an income stream for it. And so,
I like that. You name it, I got an income stream for it. I know if that's good or bad, right? I mean, because I kind of feel the same way too, and some of my income streams don't pay or cost me. So,
right.
But all right, so let's talk about a lot of things here. So first of all, and I'm going to talk to you about why you took your team a Ridge, because a lot of people are coming on the show going, hey, I took my team from a brokerage and I opened up my own company. You're saying you had your own company and you brought it back to a brokerage, a bigger brokerage. So I want to talk about that. We're going to talk about how you wear flip-flops every day and how you still sell a ton of business in flip-flops, because I think that's brilliant. But before we get into any of that, let's talk about some nitty-gritty. Like, how many houses have you sold in the last 12 months or so?
Last 12 months as a team, we have sold right around 150 homes.
And like, are you in the biz? Or do you do buyers and sellers yourself?
Right. I just closed my 32nd and 33rd deal yesterday. And so I only do listings, and I'll do some buyers for friends here and there, but we have 5 agents on our team that take over the buyers, and I also let them list as well. And so they do some listings here and there.
Okay. So so year to date, you've done 33 listings. Let's say 30 listings. So you might do 5 listings a month yourself.
That's right. Yeah.
And then
all referral business.
And then the team does another, let's say 100, buyers and sellers.
That'll be about right.
We have rough numbers.
Yeah, last 12 months, that's where we're at. We're a little behind the pace. I actually got rid of about half of my agents last year. Well, I had 11, and I got rid of all but 2. And but we added some more. Yep.
Way more than half. That's like 95%.
Well, we added some more, so we're about half the load that we were last year. But it's funny, man. There's 2 agents out of the 5 agents on my team now that are doing more business than the 11 were the last 6 months of last year, and so it was a good way to get rid of some people.
Classic 80-20 principle, right?
Right on.
Classic 80-20 principle. Okay. And so what was your ECI, your ego commission income, James?
So last year was 880,000.
All right, cool. At 880. Wow. And hopefully you'll hit a mill this year.
Yep, we're running a little bit behind the pace. I think we're on pace with pairing some of the agents and restructuring some things on our team. We're going to be on pace for about 750.
Okay. And then what's your profit margin there?
Profit margin last year was about, I did most of the work last year. I did 80 closings last year myself.
Holy dirt.
Out of the 152 that we did for the whole year. And so,
you're a beast.
Yeah, well, some would say I'm crazy, but I did do a lot last year. And so we ended up, I think my profit last year ended up being around 185,000 out of that. And so you can kind of do a quick number on it. I mean, my profit margin was very low.
So wait a minute. Okay, so out of the 750, right?
Mm-hmm.
You kept $180, and that included the commissions for your 80 deals.
Exactly. It's terrible.
What here's what people are thinking. So I'm just going to ask, like, if you didn't have a team and it was just you and a salaried person that spit nails, right?
Yep.
Or 2 salaried people that spit nails. How much revenue would you generate off of those 80 deals you did?
Off of those 80 deals, and I mean, obviously could have pulled it off without any buyer's agents last year. Out of those 80, it would have probably been a little over 300,000.
So 300, right, minus brokerage and expenses and stuff like that.
Take home 300,000.
Oh, take home 300. Yeah. So you would have netted 120,000. You'd have netted 10,000 more a month if you didn't have a team. Bottom line, right?
Yep.
So what are you doing about that? Or is there a plan to eventually, come out of this curve here and make profit on the team, or or is there a plan to go backwards? Had you thought about this?
Oh yeah, sure. Think about it every single day. And so part of the reason that I joined over with Keller Williams was to try and leverage the power that they had in the market here. And there's a few other reasons to go to Keller Williams, but I really wanted to be able to leverage the power that they have in our market. And so that is picking up new and better agents through recruiting through the market center, and also through the career nights and things like that. And so, but to be able to offload. The main goal is for me to get out of production. And in order to do that, I need to get some really stud agents. And so I have some really good agents on the team now that are showing a lot of promise, that are young and that are going. But what I did is I came over, and as an individual brokerage, my splits were 70-30, and I let my agents cap at 18,000. But yet I provided an assistant, all of the systems, all of the processes, paid for a lot of the marketing. And so that's why my profit margin was really low. So it was a terrible plan to begin with. The goal was to scale to like 20, 30 agents as an individual brokerage and be able to bring value, but still be able to compete against the big brokerage. So part of coming over to Keller Williams was to be able to learn how to change the splits and do all of those. And so some of the agents that are gone now, obviously they weren't going to go to a 50-50 split whenever we came back, and to be able to gain more profit off of the individual agents. That makes sense. And
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, if you're going to go big, right, you got to think big. Like a lot of the brokers that come on this show, right, that have a model in which they do both, which is very hard to do, right? I mean, I recommend you don't try to do both, meaning teamerage, which is or a large team within a broker. It doesn't matter, right? If you're trying to do both, I mean, providing leads and providing really attractive economics to the agent. Those two things don't really go hand in hand unless you have a mortgage and title company that you're making a lot of money off of. And that's how the big brokers, that's how a lot of these, companies with very low caps and companies with $500 a transaction and 100% splits they're making money on the ancillary businesses,
right?
Which is fine. If you can't do that, then you can't offer both, right? You got to offer one or the other.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And so, trust me, there were nights that I woke up thinking I could make more money with me, an assistant and a buyer's agent, than I did the last 2 years trying to build a team.
Well, and a lot of people would argue that you should do just that because I just had a 2-hour conversation a couple of days ago with Tim Harris at Harris Real Estate University. We're friends, and he's very big on don't do teams. He's like anti-team, and I'm not saying I'm anti-team because I've taken teams to the highest limit myself, and teams certainly have more fun. I mean, it's very fun and it's very fulfilling to have a team. You just have to strike the balance of how to profit really well with a team. And I have seen some agents that do like a lot of deals, like you did, 80 deal. I mean, that's a lot of deals. You do 60 listings a year. I would almost think that if you're not built for a team, if a team is running you down, then I'm wondering if you just did it yourself and had two side-by-side people that you paid $60,000 a year each, and they spit nails and they were licensed, and you know what I mean? And then you would just profit so much. But anyways, this is not my advice to you today. We want to talk about you, want to get into nitty-gritty. So let's talk about your business. How long have you been in the business?
So I've been in the business since 2006, full time.
Okay. So 12 years. Let's talk about your side of the business. Like, first of all, how does somebody do 60? How does someone do 5 listings a month by themselves? Like, where's this business coming from?
So mine is pretty much all coming from referrals. And so I work a really good referral business. I'm real involved in my church, which is where a lot of my business comes from. A couple of different churches that I have connections with. And so I definitely get a lot of business through there. And then just people that I meet on the streets, vendors. We connect with vendors. So like most of my stuff is like all referral generated, and it's come list me's. It's hey, I need to buy a house. Can you help my friend here? Or whatever. And so I mean it just sounds really simple, but it is really simple. It's not always easy, but it's simple, and it all is generated through referral business and through relationship marketing.
So take me like a third grader can understand, right? If someone's listening to this in Tupelo, Mississippi, and they're like, okay, this is great, James, but like, teach me how to do what you did. So I don't get any listings now. I want to get 5 a month like James. Tell me how.
Okay, so basically, I started off with a couple of goals. So number one, I wanted to list every single person that I've ever met in my life. I wanted to put them into a database. Once I popped them into a database with a name, address, phone number, and email, then I wanted to set up a program where I immediately start keeping in touch with them. And so in Gary Keller's book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, the Red Book, he talks about I think it's a 36 touch system or a 32 touch. We do 40 touches. And so I do 4 mailers, 2 emails a month, and then I make 4 phone calls a year at the minimum. And so as soon as I started the business, I grabbed and I started building the database, putting everybody's name, everybody I knew in that thing, and started that 40 touch system. That immediately got me going in front of people. And that it takes time to kind of trickle down, but you get those reticular activators going in their head, right? And so they start seeing you all the time, and they start thinking about you. Then, we get to know every one of our vendors. We become a huge referral source for vendors. So I go out and I seek the air conditioning guy, for instance. And most of our vendors do not have a really good database. But our goal is to bring those guys value to get to their database. And so it's crazy how many times my air conditioning guy has sent me a referral, or every time my carpet cleaning guy who knows a ton of real estate agents has sent me a referral. And so we really try to bring tons and tons of value to those people and to those vendors, and just meeting people and adding them to the database every day. One of my goals every week, and I hit it nearly every single week, is to get 10 new people into my database. That would be, I mean, even if I'm on the way home and I haven't met 2 people that day, and I'm on the way home, I'll stop at a convenience store or the dry cleaner or wherever, and I'll pick up a name. I'll figure out a name. I'll pick up a business card, and I'll meet someone and get them into that database. Maybe not full information yet, but I'll get them into that database, and then they become a part of the touch system. Then we add them on social media, and we hit that whole thing, just engaging them on social media as a friend, basically. And I mean, that is literally how I built my business.
I love that strategy, right? And it's a compound thing, right? I mean, if you're doing 10 a day, that's 3,650 a year. Let that sink in.
Not 10 a day. It's 10 a week. So it's 2
10 a week. I'm sorry. Okay.
520 though. 520.
520 people.
Brokers and team leaders, are you tired of seeing dwindling numbers at your monthly sales meetings? And I don't mean numbers as far as sales. I mean numbers as far as agents attending. Do you struggle with creating new and exciting content that will not only motivate your agents, but deliver actual results to them? Do you want your agents using proven sales techniques that increase their commissions? We've got the answer for you. Rebus University is launching a Lunch and Learn series you can purchase to provide structure and content to your meetings. The series has 12 30-minute trainings taught by me and top producers from around the world, and specifically is designed to increase production for your agents. Plus, when you purchase these trainings, you will also receive significant discounts for the go-getters on your team or in your office who want more training and bigger results. So don't delay. Go to hibandigital.com/teams. That's hibandigital.com/teams, or call Catherine Brower today at 843-749-9900. That's 843-749-9900. And get started with your Rebus University Lunch and Learn.
All right, so let's walk through this. So you meet me, I meet you. Like, how are you meeting 10 people a week? Like, is that normal? I mean, like, how do you meet these people? Just randomly bump into them, stores, just chit chatting? What?
So there's a little Thai place that's a couple blocks from my office that I go and eat at about 3 times a week. And when 1 week alone, I've had 3 or 4 people come through that Thai place, like just customers. And you can ask anyone who travels with me. I meet people when we travel. And one guy in Missouri, we were in St. Louis for a class last week, and he calls me Big Texas. And he basically said, "You're Big Texas. Not only you're a big dude, 6'2", 250 pounds, but you're also a big personality." And he said, every time we sit down at a restaurant, he said, you find out where those people are from and you get their information. He said, that is incredible. And so we met some people from New Jersey who were traveling to see ballparks. And I found out all this information, and I got their name and their number, already connected with them on Facebook that night. Kind of like a stalker in a way, but not quite as to that degree. But met them, they'll go in the database. Will they ever bring me business? I don't know. I know a lot of Northeasterners are sending business to Texas. So I might as well pop them in there and see what happens. And so
yeah, right. And it's just the attitude, right? I mean, like you're gonna no matter who you are, you're gonna put them in there. So I'm sitting in a Thai. You're sitting in a Thai restaurant. I roll in, right? Minding my own business. Let's role play this. Dum da dum da dum.
Yep. So you sit down to get your food, and usually, it's like, it just kind of happens. Like, there's not really a strategy. There's not like really a script to learn. If somebody makes eye contact with you, I'm gonna say, "Hey, how's it going today?"
Good.
Now, you might not be able to pull this off while you're in New York, New York City. People will think you're a little bit of a freak if you say hello. But but for me, like, people will engage, and some people are like, "Yeah, doing fine." And, I had a guy the other day in the Thai place. He lays the tar on top of like asphalt. So he does like asphalt driveways and refinishing and stuff. And he had a shirt on that had a business. And I just said, "Hey man, how are you guys doing? Surviving the heat?" And he said, "Yep." He said, "Trying to get get out of the heat right now to get some lunch and get cool." And I said, "Oh, I see your shirt there. What is your business exactly?" I said, "Oh, great. Well, what kind of referral would I be able to send you if I wanted to bring you value?" He said, "Oh, you can't help me. I work for the state or whatever." And I said, "Well, that's all right. I can always try to bring you value in some way. You never know who we're going to meet." And I said, "Do you have a business card or anything on you?" And so he said, "No, I don't." And I said, "I tell you what, though, I have my phone. How about I text you?" I said, "I have an electronic business card on my phone here. Why don't I text you my info? And then I'll go ahead and take down your name and number. And then if I feel like it and he's generous, then I'll ask him for his email right there. And then eventually I'll call him, I'll email him, and we'll touch base and get his address so we can start, mailing him stuff as well." And so, that's generally how it's done right there.
Wow. And what do you say to people? Because I've done this before. I did this recently. I was on the beach and I met a guy. I was with my family, met a guy. He was a developer, real estate guy. And I was like, we should stay in touch. I got his number and I come back to the blankets and stuff. My wife and kids are like, "Daddy, that was creepy. How'd you just get some random dude's name and number and switch, well, what do you say about that?"
I think my kids are used to it. My daughter, my 15-year-old just rolls her eyes now whenever we pull up and do stuff like that. But, you're getting to know people. Like, if you don't ask the question, the worst they're going to do is be rude to you and reject you. It's no big deal. But man, I could be talking to the next Steve Jobs. I could be talking to, the next president or somebody. You just never know who you're going to run into. And everyone has a story. And that stuff just really interests me. In the Thai place, I met a guy his name is Sonny Wheeler, and that's a Texas name right there. That guy's a 70-year-old architect who travels all over Thailand about 3 months a year, and he's in there 18 times a month. I've ran into him 3 times over the last 2 weeks in there eating lunch. He's in that place all the time. That dude is he's the most interesting man in the world. Forget the Dos Equis commercial. That dude is the most interesting man in the world. And I would have never gotten to know that guy had it not been for striking up a conversation. And now he comes in, if I'm with a customer or with an agent there, he'll say, "Hey, do you mind if I join you guys?" And so he just sits right on down. That's just how it's become a deal. But I would have never known that guy had I not struck up the conversation. There's so much you can learn about people and learn about life. Why not take an hour instead of going to lunch with a bunch of realtors that want to get drunk at 12 o'clock? Why not just go ahead and go have lunch and meet some people that maybe you can bring value to, they can bring value to you, or maybe they just are someone you meet and never talk to ever again, but it's definitely worth the shot.
I love that, dude. And then you just build this thing, and then tell me what specifically is the system you follow to stay in touch with not just Sonny Wheeler, but with everybody.
With everyone I meet. So it goes back to the 40 touch. So we'll break that down a little bit.
Yeah, please.
I do 12 mailers a year. So there's 9 postcards, and one of them may be like Happy Valentine's Day. It doesn't have to be anything major. It just has my picture, my info on there. I'm not begging for business or anything. I'm just literally getting something out to them. And so I'll do 9 of those. I'll do Texas Rangers schedule magnets and Dallas Cowboys schedule magnets. I get a lot of those Cowboys returned back in the mail as people are a little fed up with them guys a lot of times. But anyways, then for Christmas, this is the biggest thing that I do. I feel like that people connect with is every Christmas I send a Christmas card to them that has a picture of my family on it. And which really kind of been crazy because over the last 5 years, every other year there's a new kid on the Christmas card here. As I've had 3 daughters over the last 5 years here. And so they've enjoyed watching the family grow, and people love whenever you think about them enough to send them something personal from you. And I get more compliments off of that, every single year when we send it. Thank you for thinking about us. And then, so those are my mailers. Those go out to everybody who has an address in the database. Then we send 2 emails a month. And those emails, we just try to bring value. I mean, anything you can think of. Hey, this is the month, we're heading into the summer. You need to get an air conditioning, maintenance plan done, or you need to change your air conditioner filter. We may do something like that. We may just say, hey, here's a new restaurant. I'll take a selfie with the owner. I'll do a quick 30-second video or a minute video just talking about his restaurant and inviting people to come down and check out the new restaurant or whatever. Just anything that I could make people want to open it up. So I do 2 of those a month. Sometimes we'll do just listed, just sold or whatever. But primarily it's just trying to do something outside of real estate to bring them value, just to stay in front of them. And there's always a little place in a link where they can click on that link to come to our website or to get connected with me directly or send me a text message, to go get a valuation or whatever, refer a client, any of those kind of things. And then the 4 calls a year, I just call checking up on my people, finding out how the family's doing and all of that. I don't even ask for business. Usually it just comes up in conversation if it's going to happen. So.
Well, I love it. Thanks for spelling it out. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And the addresses, you just have somebody call, or you just call them and say, hey, I got something I want to send you, so give me your address.
Yep, exactly.
Wow. All right, talk to me about the flip-flops, dude. So, how do you get away with selling so many houses, listing so many houses, getting so much business, wearing flip-flops every day?
So for me, it's just being about who I am. And I got a funny story. I was out in Vegas at a conference, and this guy was wearing flip-flops and a fishing shirt, and so was I during this whole conference. Everybody else is in suit and tie and all of this, so I just wore it, I just looked like I didn't belong. And so he was looking across the stage at me for 3 days, and he finally made a beeline for me, and he came to me, and he said, man, it's great to know there's somebody else here that sells beach property. And I told him, I said, well, you know what? There's not a drop of water anywhere near where I'm at, and definitely not any beaches. And so he got a kick out of that. But, for me, I just figured out what I'm comfortable in. I enjoy waking up wearing a branded fishing shirt like I have on here, and just going out there and being relaxed. To people around here, especially in the rural areas, I'll always apologize when I walk up. Sometimes first meetings I will put on some jeans and nice shoes. It depends on kind of the price range, and I get a feel of the client over the phone if I need to do that first in front. But during the summer, I'm almost shorts every single day and flip-flops, and I'll just tell them look, I apologize and say, look, we're in and out of houses all day, which I am on the investing side and looking at vacant houses and whatnot. It's hot outside, so I hope you're okay that I'm relaxed. And people jive on that. I mean, they love it. And so one guy told me one time, he said, if you would have wore a suit, I would have pulled a shotgun and asked you to leave my property. So sometimes suits around here, depending on the clientele, they're not as trustworthy. And so they love the fact that I'm chill, that I'm relaxed, but they also know that I'm going to take care of business. I'm not lazy and all of those things. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love it that you're yourself. And, I love it that you use it to your advantage, right? To get people to trust you more, right? So you got this big sign out in the back of your head right now. I can read it. It says, it's not the money I'm after, it's the freedom.
Correct.
What does that mean?
I mean, money obviously makes the world go round. Money's what makes things happen. Everybody loves to have a lot of money. And we're definitely amassing some wealth. But for me, it's not really about spending every single day of my life pursuing money. Every single day, every single hour, there's more to life than that. I want the freedom to be at home every night with my kids and spending time with my kids. I want the freedom to be able to go to every single event that my kids have at school or for sports or any of that. I want the freedom to be able to not ever work a Sunday, which I haven't worked a Sunday in 10 years. And not have to work a Sunday, so I can go to church and then have lunch with my family and the rest of the day to rest with my family. I want the freedom to be able to go to one of my favorite places in the world, and that's Costa Rica, and be able to go there for 2 or 3 weeks and chill and not worry about things. And so that's my whole thing. Just be able to, the freedom of time for me. to be able to do anything I want to do.
Yeah, I think that's what it's about for everybody. They don't realize it. Talk to me about building wealth. So, like, how are you building wealth?
So last year I flipped 11 houses. I
Woo.
flipped over 100 in my career since 2001, but I really just started trying to ramp it up. We just closed on our, I think it's our 6th and 7th this year. So we're running a little bit behind this year, but we made a ton of offers, just not getting the deals where we want them. It's pretty competitive, but we closed on our 6th and 7th one last week, and so those are being rehabbed. I just listed our 5th one and got way over asking price on it in 3 days, which was nice.
Yeah, congrats.
So, thank you. And so we just got to get to closing on that. So basically, here's the formula that I'm using. I'm taking every bit of my flips. I'm building some capital. When the market shifts, when the market goes down, like it always does, I want to be ready and in the right position with cash on hand to be able to amass even more wealth whenever the market's down. And so, but I do use some proceeds and profit from the flips to attain, the goal is to attain a couple rental houses a year. I didn't buy any last year, I bought one last year. I haven't bought any this year. I have 7 rental houses currently. And so it's, that one's been a little bit slower, but the goal moving forward here is 2 to 3 houses a year to add to the portfolio.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you could think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox, and it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now.
Okay. And so you talked about, hey, you know, when the market does shift, you're going to have a cash accumulation, right? When do you think that's going to happen?
I think next election. That's what I've been kind of looking at, the next election time. And
2 years.
Yeah, exactly. 2 years away. In our area. Now, I was just in St. Louis, and people in the heartland are talking about how bad it's already shifting, how they've already been feeling it. And it seems to hit those guys first, them, and then, of course, your East and West Coast. But we have so many corporations and so much stuff coming into Dallas that it's just, I mean, we've had an incredible market, and people are still moving in here. We still have low days on market. Excuse me. We still have low inventory. And so I don't see it. I see a couple more years of good stuff for us here. And I don't know. I mean, it's hard to predict these things. I definitely don't see like a 2007-8 again, but I feel like that we're going to be at more of a level market instead of being so seller centered here, that it goes back to being a more leveled out market.
Yeah. The thing with 2008 and 2007 was there was a black swan, right? You had the mortgage meltdown, right? I mean, that ain't going to happen again, right? That ain't going to happen. Now, you could have another meltdown. You could have a government meltdown,
right?
Or another type of meltdown. If that happens, then that's a black swan. But bearing a black swan, bearing something odd, right? It should just change gradually, like you said.
Yep, I think so. Mortgages have been harder to get, and so the regulations have been a little bit harder than it was, 15 years ago. And so that's why I can't foresee there being just a ton of foreclosures hitting the market like there was, or short sales, unless there's some big, like you're talking about, like economic collapse or something, via the government that causes like all these job losses to occur. I just don't see like a major crash like we had back then.
Right. Very interesting. Well, it's good you're starting to save cash though, because that's the way to do it, right? And I recommend that for everybody. I recommend both. I like your idea of dollar cost averaging real estate, right? Like buying a house a year, or something like that. I wish I had done that my whole life. I kind of bought here and bought there, but I didn't just like consistently buy at least a house a year every year, or two houses, or a house a quarter. I met a guy recently has bought a house a quarter for the past 20 years. You know what I mean? And
good for him.
yeah, I mean, so I like that. But then I also like the idea of hedging, because I do think it's going to slow down. I do think you're going to have some issues. There are going to be some flippers that get stuck holding flips, as they always do, not being able to sell flips and losing money, or owing money to hard money bankers. And that'll be interesting to watch. So anyway, so good stuff. So, all right, cool. So let's talk a little bit about technology. You using any good technology out there now that's helping you in your business, with your team and your deals?
Sure. One of the pieces of technology like totally changed my business probably 3 years ago. I have an assistant she'll be with me 5 years in December. And we've all been at that point where when you first hire your assistant, if you don't have the right systems in place and workflows, et cetera, she's basically tasked with trying to read your mind. And we all know that doesn't work. And for a year and a half, we bumped heads, and I ended up taking stuff back off of her plate onto my plate to get it done, because of the whole frustration of reading minds and not having systems and processes. And so we actually built out, have you ever heard of Podio?
Yes.
Okay, so Podio is a program that's like totally customizable. That's a software that you can go into, and you can basically build out workflows and triggers and all of these things. And so once we got that fully built out, our assistant was able to run with the transaction coordination and the listing management. She was able to do on her own last year 152 deals that she did running on her own through that system. And that system would send triggers and reminders, and even as simple as, like, if you look at the listing process, as soon as we hit the button that the paperwork has been received, our courier gets an email so that he can go out and measure the house, put the sign and lockbox out. Our photographer gets an automated email. Our home warranty company, which we put a home warranty on every one of our listings, seller coverage, she gets an email that tells her to order all of that. So all of that stuff is done through that program with just simple little triggers. And so that's just kind of a basis, like, just a real basic overview of what we have going. But yeah, all of that really changed things, because that's what allows me to be able to go away. If I want to go to Costa Rica again, I can go away knowing that all I have to do to make sure things are being done is log in to Podio and the workflow. It's all systematized.
Incredible. So let's wrap this up here, James, with our flagship question, and that is this. If I were to take you and put you against 9 other agents, and I put you in a little land or a little area, right? And now don't get this wrong. Like, there's commerce. There's people buying and selling houses. There's people buying and selling things. But the one thing that the 10 agents, including yourself, have in common is you don't know anyone, right? And I know you're good at this, so you don't know anybody. Doesn't bother you. But I gave you each $1,000, a laptop, and a cell phone. And I said, whoever sells the most houses in a 6-month period gets $1 million cash. How's James Like going to win this game?
Well, the first thing that James will not do is sit behind a desk and try to do something from behind the computer. And the laptop is important. Obviously, it's going to help me to reach the masses once I've met them. But I'd get up, man. I'd find that Thai food place that's nearby. I would get out and go knock doors. I would go meet every other business person in town, since there is commerce being done. I would go meet every single business person and find out how to bring them value, and try to reach their clients. Kind of the Michael Mayer principle, and bringing value and reaching all the people that I've met and the people they know. And so, I mean, it sounds really simple, but I just throw on my flip-flops, get out the office, go door to door, and do whatever I could to build my database as quickly as I possibly could.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I think you'd win. I think you'd win. So, James, you know, as you know, everybody that comes on the show brings with them a free gift. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on hibandigital.com/James Like. That's hibandigital.com/James Like. And I'm also going to put it in the Agent Success Toolbox, which can be found on hibandigital.com/toolbox or by texting the word toolbox to 444-999. James, what did you bring today?
So a couple of years ago, I wrote, or about a little over a year ago, I co-wrote a book with Dr. Tamika Bryant and about 9 or 10 other agents entitled Lead, Generate, or Die. And so what I'm bringing to the toolbox is the ebook version of that, the PDF of that. And so so that people can go in there and see what 10 or 12 people there say about lead generating for different businesses.
I love that. Thanks. That's a big one. That's a big one, guys. So if you want that, jump on James's show notes, and you can go there as well to reach out to him and say, you know, thanks for coming on the show today and sharing so much and inspiring you. So, James, best of luck to you, buddy. If I'm ever out in Burlington, Texas, I definitely will look you up and we can break some bread.
Well, yeah, let's do it, man. Look forward to it. Thanks a lot for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in to Real Estate Rockstars. If this free content is giving you a ton of value, I want to ask a small favor in return. I need you to pull out your pointing finger and hit the subscribe button. Yes, hit subscribe, please. The more subscribers that we get on Real Estate Rockstars, the better guests are attracted to the shows. We'll get more guests from the top companies, from the top teams, and even more celebrity guests like Robert Kiyosaki and Barbara Corcoran. Also, if you're not a member of our free Facebook group, go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio right on Facebook and join the conversation. I'm on there myself on FaceTime Lives, and we have a lot of communications and questions about the show, and I'd love to see you there. And it's free. People ask me all the time, where am I on social media? I'm real easy to find. Just type in my name. My IG is I am Pat Hyben. It is blowing up on Instagram, adding tons of subscribers, and I'm on there probably twice a day. So definitely follow me on Instagram, as well as everywhere else. Thanks again for listening, and keep rocking.